This video contains spoilers for Season 2 Episode 6 and Season 2 Episode 7 of Helluva Boss, so if you aren't caught up, I'd highly recommend doing so before continuing with this video. Also, apologies if I sound weird, as I am currently sick with COVID at the time of making this video. Today I want to talk about Fizzarolli's disability and, more specifically, his internalized ableism. Keep in mind that at the time of making this video, Season 2 Episode 7 is the latest episode to come out, so I'll only be able to speak on what has happened in the show up to that point. I'll be breaking this video up into chunks, which will be timestamped in the description for anyone who wishes to skip to a certain point. With all that said, let's jump right in. I should probably start this off by explaining in what way Fizzarolli is disabled for those who haven't watched the show, or for those who have, but just haven't thought of it in that way. It is revealed in Season 2, Episode 6 that Fizzarolli was severely injured in a fireworks accident caused by a fire in the circus where he worked throughout his childhood. This accident would leave him with broken horns, severe scarring, and he would also become a quadruple amputee. The details of how exactly he became an amputee aren't entirely explained in the show, as he does still have his limbs when we see the immediate aftermath of the fire, but we see in the present timeline that he uses prosthetics that his boyfriend made him, so my assumption is that the burn damage was just really severe and that's why he had his limbs amputated. All of that is, 100% canon, but I've also seen speculation that he may be hard of hearing or partially deaf because he knows ASL, and in Season 2 Episode 7, we see a deaf kid whose horns are also broken. I'm not sure if that's intentional or not though, so I won't include it for the rest of this video, but I figured it was at least worth mentioning. Season 2 Episode 7 is largely about toxic work environments and when fandom goes too far, but it's also very muchly about internalized ableism. In this episode, Fizzarolli competes in this clown pageant contest for the 10th year in a row. It's very clear that he doesn't particularly want to, but for reasons that aren't revealed until the final chunk of the episode, he gets really panicky whenever anything comes in the way of him winning this thing that he's already won so many times.
Besides, I just have to do this!
We also see his boss being incredibly critical of him.
You're looking a bit shungo, yeah? Maybe lose a few so we don't gotta make any more adjustments to the fizzies. What?
And even before he gets there, he's already frantic at the beginning of the episode because there's an imperfection on his, again, very scarred face that he needs to cover for the competition.
Oh, fuck! Mammon is gonna notice that! Ozzy! Where did my foundation go?
His boss, Mammon, I'm probably gonna go in between calling him Mammon and Mammon because they say both in the video and I'm not sure which it is, just bear with me, has been forcing a particular image on him for years, and despite clearly not being in love with that image, Fizzarolli seems really dead set on upholding it.
I need this gig!
Why?
I just need it, okay? Smile inside and out.
It comes up multiple times that he's afraid of losing something, but he won't say what.
Without it, I'll lose everything!
That is, until he ends up having a panic attack and breaking down to his boyfriend about it, saying that he's afraid of losing him.
Because I feel like if I lose this, I lose you.
And then we get this moment.
You're with me because of who I am at my best. I'm barely worthy of working with a king of sin because this is who I am. Without all this, I'm just nothing. And Mammon made me this. I owe it all to him.
The makeup, the jester hat, the big clown sleeves, all of it, yes, is a clown outfit, but it's also specifically meant to cover the parts of his physical appearance that make it clear that he is disabled, and we learn here that that's something he's incredibly ashamed of. Not just ashamed, but he believes it makes him fundamentally less worthy of love and happiness and just good things in general. I'm barely worthy of working with a king of sin because this is who I am, he says as he's drawing attention to his broken horns. Of course, this isn't actually true, as Osmodeus immediately tells him in song form.
No, 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 I wouldn't clean a thing when I ended up with you.
By the end of the episode, he stands up to Mammon and quits his job, but I don't believe that this issue is entirely resolved, as that's just not realistic. By his own admission, he knows that he's loved, he just has a hard time trusting that, and this also isn't even the first example we've seen in the series of him saying something that alludes to feeling bad or burdensome for something related to his disability. In the previous episode, as Asmodeus is replacing one of his robotic arms that got messed up in another explosion, he apologizes for getting quote-unquote messy.
I'm sorry, I got a little messy.
To which Asmodeus reassures him that he doesn't need to apologize for that, because Asmodeus is the best.
You don't need to apologize for getting banged up, babe.
Because of the perfect image that Mammon forced onto him for so long, Fizzarolli carries the belief that these quote-unquote imperfections, like his scars and his broken horns, make him fundamentally worth less than those around him, which is why he works himself so hard in this episode, even beyond the point where it becomes unhealthy. And if that isn't internalized ableism, I don't know what is. With this in mind, it's also notable that there are two instances where the presence of another disabled being helps him calm down. The first is in Season 2, Episode 6. One of his many dogs has wheels, and that dog specifically comforts him after he gets worked up about something. If I can find the comment, I'll put it on screen, but I saw somebody point out that the fact that it comforted him the way it did may imply that it's supposed to be a service animal. This is once again falling into the realm of headcanon though, so I'll just leave that out. But either way, I do find it interesting that the dog that calms him down is the one that's also disabled. That's just a small moment though, so I may very well be reading too much into it. More notable is the moment in Season 2, Episode 7, where he meets a fan who is deaf. He's been forced into a meet and greet that he himself says he's not emotionally level enough to go through, and is clearly getting really stressed.
We love you, babe!
When he sees a little boy in the crowd signing to him. He immediately calms down and invites the kid to come up to him. The two have a small exchange in ASL that, from what I could catch from the 2 years I took of ASL, was animated accurately. Good job, Spindlehorse. This cheers him up, at least temporarily, and he also thanks the kid later on in the episode. This moment primarily is meant to highlight the importance of your real fans, because, again, the episode is largely about fandom, but the fact that they made this fan not only disabled, but also in a similar way to Fizzarolli with his broken horns is notable. It shows a contrast between how he thinks of his own disability as this thing that makes him worthless, versus this kid who he gets along with really well, thus the internalized part of internalized ableism. Something, community, something, solidarity. This is just a really sweet moment. What's really good for Fizzarolli, and is also just really good to see, is that he has a very stable support system, namely Asmodeus. While it seems that he only met Asmodeus through his work with Mammon, Asmodeus makes it clear to him that him quitting won't interfere with that, even admitting his love for the imp to the public.
I could tell everyone here that... What? That I love him? Well, I do.
This is good not only because the relationship is adorable and because Fizzarolli deserves good things, but also Asmodeus is his caretaker, at least on a minor level. He is the one supplying and fixing Fizzarolli's prosthetics, and based on the scene in Season 2, Episode 6, it can be inferred that he is generally the one responsible for putting them on him when possible, which he would kind of have to because Fizzarolli is a quadruple amputee. A canonically disabled character in an interabled relationship having an internalized ableism-induced breakdown in the mid-season special wasn't on my Helluva Boss Season 2 bingo card, but I'm also not gonna complain about it. It's rare to see this sort of thing portrayed both really accurately and also compassionately in media, so I'd like to thank the whole team behind the show for doing that, and who knows, maybe I'll have more to say on the subject based on future episodes. Fizzarolli's character arc definitely feels far from over, but Season 2, Episode 7 did a really good job both illustrating what the core of a lot of his issues is, as well as shining a light on the road to betterness, and I can't wait to see what the show has in store for the future. I hope you enjoyed this little breakdown video thingy. Farewell.